Okay, so this section of notes is on 2.2 to 2.3a. It's solving inequalities. And what we're trying to do is put the date here, please, and then recognize that what we're doing is we're solving inequalities. It's a whole lot like solving equations. What we want to do is realize that adding or subtracting the same thing, the same number from both sides, will give you an equivalent inequality. So basically you can add or subtract the same thing from both sides, or you can even multiply and divide by the same thing. That's fine. And just like with inequalities, these are a couple of the, I don't have them here actually. You've learned a lot of what we're going to talk about here already. You've solved inequalities. So be aware that if you add or subtract the same number from each side, you get the same, an inequality that's the same answer. So in other words, if I am older than you, right, then in 3 years, in 3 years will still be older than you in 3 years. That's kind of the idea. So that's where this is kind of coming from. If you add time to your ages, you'll still be older in 3 years. So here's some examples where you add or subtract the same thing on both sides. How about this one? Let's just try to solve this inequality. So you have this subtract 6, so you can add 6 to both sides of the inequality. Make sure it's both sides. Treat this like an equal sign, this right here. And now you have x, and you keep that the same way, is greater than or equal to negative 4. Now, first of all, we want to be able to graph this and also check this. So if we're going to graph this, let's go over here, down below, and we're going to go to negative 4, and we're going to put a line at negative 4. Now, I think generally we're kind of okay with this. Let's make this negative 4, make this negative 2. So at negative 4 we have an open, actually we have a closed dot. The reason that it's closed, it's important to notice, the reason that it's closed is because there's a line underneath here. So that makes this dot closed. What we're going to do is we're going to color to the right, which is everything greater, because this is a greater than symbol. So that's really that. So now as we talk about checking the problem, how do we check it? Well, we check it by putting in a number that's bigger than negative 4, and see if it works. So pick any number in this area. So let's just pick 0. It's a pretty easy number. Try 0. So if you put 0 into the original inequality here, you have 0 minus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 10. You got negative 6 is greater than or equal to negative 10, which is true, because 10 is more negative, so negative 6 is greater. So go down here and just pause the video and try a couple of these. I want you to try numbers 1 and 2. So pause the video and give these a shot. I'll show you how I would do this one, for example. I'd be adding the 1/4 to both sides to get the y alone. That's 2/4, which is actually a half. So that's the idea. And then in this case, we want to go between 0 and 1. A half is open. Now here's what's weird though. You can either, see how the arrow is kind of pointing towards the y? You can flip this around like this so that the y is on the left, and then you'll realize y is less than 1/2. Or you can read it just kind of like y is less than 1/2, kind of like reading it from right to left, which is weird. So that's basically it. So pause the video and give 1 and 2 a shot. So hopefully you got b is greater than negative 7 and m is less than or equal to 8 for those. Here's a couple more. Perhaps maybe I'll try a decimal one for you, because I don't know if you've done those in a little while. This could be a now you try. I have no reason you can't give that one a try. And maybe even this one you could try, because we did that fraction one before. But I'll do number 6 for you. We're still doing the same thing as if it's an inequality. This is the line. This is like an equal sign, okay? Sort of. When we subtract the 0.7 here, we get greater than, I think it's 3.0, negative 3.0. So p is greater than negative 3. In this case, we'll make a number line, and we'll go to -3. Maybe we'll put 0 on there, maybe we'll put -6 on there. And we want to go greater than -3, so greater is to the right. Less is to the left, greater is to the right. So try numbers 4 and 5. Give those a shot. Then we're going to talk about these. So pause the video and give those problems a shot. Lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about multiplication and division, solving with multiplication and division. So if you look at this problem, what do you think you would do if you have this 1.5q? Do you guys remember what you would do when you normally have that with an equal sign? What you want to do here is use division to get rid of the 1.5. So divide by 1.5 on both sides. So if we divide by 1.5 on both sides, 1.5, I guess 1.5 times 2 is 3. And 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I'm assuming this is going to go in 12 times. 12 times 1.5. So we're going to have -12. We're going to have this answer. Again, you can write the answer this way and just graph it right away, or you can flip it around so that you have the following q. But remember, the alligator mouth is going to be still eating the -12. So that's what you want to realize. So keep that and at that point, you will just try to graph this problem. So we'll be at -12. You don't have to put a ton of numbers on there. It's okay to just put like 3 numbers, maybe 1 to the left, 1 to the right. And at that point, we want to go less than -12 and have an open circle. So pause the video, maybe try number 2. There's a few for you to try. They shouldn't be too bad. This problem is talking about mean. And we know that a mean is a mean score means that you add up all of the numbers, right? So whatever there are, and divide by the number of numbers. And they did say at least 90, so I'm going to say greater than or equal to 90. And they said that you have 4 games you've already played. You're going to have a 5th game that you're going to add. So we're going to have 5 games total, right? So we have game 5, and that's a question mark. We don't know, right? The score for game 5. It's not a 0, it's like a bubble. So game 5 is a question mark. So now we got to add up all the games. We had the 95, one of those. We're just finding the average by the mean. And this is question mark, so I'm going to put x. So what you would do is you would clear the 5 out by multiplying on both sides. And you'd add up all those numbers and you'd solve. I'm going to leave that a little unsolved. If you want to try to solve it, that'd be fantastic. We'll take it from there. The last thing we want to do is just explore this statement. 10 is greater than 8. I want you to just go through it like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it for you. Is the original statement above true? And I'm going to say yes, 10 is greater than 8. Yes, 10 is greater than 8. So what I want you to do now is divide each side by 2. So if you divide each side by 2, you get 10 divided by 2, which is 5, is greater than, and you get 8 divided by 2, which is 4. 5 is greater than 4. Is that, so that's 5 is greater than 4 goes here, answer number 2. Is that still true? Yes. So it shouldn't be hard for you to take 10 is greater than 8, multiply both sides by 3, write it in the box, and then circle yes or no if it's true or false. So that's what you're doing. You're going through 3, 4, and 5 like that. And then if that is okay, we're going to try to solve these inequalities. So pause the video, try 3, 4, and 5. This is an important part of the lesson. And then I'm going to show you what we do here. So hopefully you learned that when you multiply on both sides by a negative, the inequality will flip. So the inequality flips and you have this inequality. Similarly here, if you divide on both sides by a negative, the inequality will flip. So notice that I'm flipping the inequality because I'm dividing by a -7. And I'm flipping the inequality here because I'm multiplying by a -3 on both sides. So just keep that in mind, otherwise everything is the same. Pause the video and try 5 and 6. We'll keep this short and sweet. I will see you in the next video. Peace.